It was on the screen. I just want to get rid of it so I could
Okay.
see y'all's beautiful faces. So. And mine, of course. Most importantly.
And M.O.D.O.K.
Yep. Got my M.O.D.O.K. Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Franklin Cooper.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement.
Why was that funny? That was my actual name. What the fuck?
I'm glad Franklin
Your
Cooper
name's
could join
Franklin?
us. Yeah.
Frank, is your full name Franklin?
Yeah.
Really? I learned something new today.
So the Watchers are learning stuff today, so that's cool.
The more you know. Ding.
Yeah, the ding, ding, ding. The old NBC thing. Yeah, I used to love that.
Man.
Welcome to the show. We're about 10 days or so away from the start of Loki. We're all excited for that. But I was thinking, like in this between now and the start of Loki, I was thinking that maybe we should, look at the non-MCU Marvel movies, because the MCU is going to continue with Loki, and I don't even know what the stop point is after. Once Loki starts, you're going to have Black Widow, you're going to have What If, the animated series, you're going to have, obviously Eternals, and you're going to have Spider-Man Far From Home, Shang-Chi. This is like the last kind of break we had for a while. So I thought it'd be fun for us to talk about the non-MCU Marvel stuff. What when I say non-MCU Marvel, what's like the first thing y'all think of?
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Brittany, what about you?
I do think of XMen.
Which is like Deadpool adjacent. And the thing is, with what we're going to talk about today, there's a chance that all of this stuff could be in the MCU at some point. I mean, I don't think all of it, but I think that some of it.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting. I was doing a little bit of research. We all know how successful the MCU is, but I just want to kind of break it down for you. The MCU has had 23 films since it started in 2008. Those 23 films have grossed $22.5 billion. That's almost $1 billion per movie. The most successful movie studio. I think that's astonishing. I was looking at the non-MCU Marvel movies, and there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of non-Marvel movie, I keep saying that, non-MCU Marvel films. The problem is there's so many, and some of the connections to Marvel are so loose. It's hard to find out what the definitive number is, because there's a lot of TV movies that some people count. Like there were several Hulk TV movies, and there was a Captain America TV movie in the 70s and a Spider-Man one. And I'm not going to count that stuff. Okay. I'm only going to count Marvel superhero films, or like films that were either in the theater or were supposed to be in the theater. We're taking away Men in Black, which I didn't even know was a Marvel property until a few weeks ago, but I'm not counting Men in Black. I'm not counting Howard the Duck. All that stuff's going out the window.
What about Blade?
I'm counting Blade, because Blade's going to be in the MCU. So yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And Blade's a superhero.
That was on my list.
By my count, there's been 36 non-MCU Marvel movies.
Like 10.
No, but think about it, Frank. Like all the X-Men movies. So there's 13 X-Men movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 6 Spider-Man movies that are not in the MCU.
Is the Venom series in the
Venom is not.
MCU?
Nope,
It's
not MCU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to change my list.
Maybe Tom Holland's Spider-Man will, go back to Sony, but for now, that's not a part of the MCU. But I thought it was interesting. I was just doing some research into this stuff, and I was looking at what the top 10 highest grossing superhero movies of all time. I'm just gonna throw this out there to y'all. Okay, out of the top 10, how many do you think are MCU movies?
I'll say 5 of them. I think all 3 Avengers movies are for sure. I think one of Captain America, Winter Soldier movie.
Winter Soldier, Civil War.
I think those 5.
And Game
I'll be
Infinity.
6. I'll say 6 because I think Captain Marvel's in there too.
Brittany, what do you think?
I'll
Just
go
guess.
with 4.
And George, what's your number?
7.
So the answer is 8. 8 of the top 10 highest grossing superhero films are MCU. The only ones that aren't are the Incredibles 2, which is a Disney Pixar movie, and Aquaman. So the top 10 goes like this. The top 4 are all Avengers films: Endgame, Infinity War, The Avengers, Age of Ultron. Number 5 is Black Panther. Number 6 is Incredibles 2. Iron Man 3 is number 7. Captain America Civil War is number 8. Aquaman's number 9. And Spider-Man Far From Home is number 10.
Iron Man number 3 is number 7.
Yeah, it's the highest grossing Iron Man, even though
Wow.
it's the worst. Yeah. this was like 5 years in and the MCU was rolling, or it was so popular that even the quote unquote bad movies are, people are going to see them.
All right.
I just thought that was really interesting. That just shows how they're like, how the dominance in such a short period of time. I think it's astonishing. There's almost nothing in the world that compares to how like dominant the MCU has been.
Frank, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say that's great strategic placement and storylining and like timelining by Marvel, because Captain Marvel is a horrible movie, but when you watch Avengers Infinity War and it leaves the Easter egg of Captain Marvel playing a key role, that drove fans from like, oh shit, let's watch Captain Marvel to see how she's gonna play a role in Endgame. I can't speak for everybody else, but I was disappointed in that movie. But again, with the storyline and placement of that movie in the Marvel timeline, I think it drove a lot of fans to watch it. Same with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, I didn't give a shit about Ant-Man and the Wasp, but because there was clues that there might be clues in there that could help stop Thanos, I watched it because of that. So
you like the little girl that plays Scott Lang's daughter, the world's greatest grandma.
Absolutely. But the movie to me was very, it was very unimpressive to me.
Yeah.
But
and you mentioned Captain Marvel. It's number 11 all time for the highest grossing superhero movies.
Yeah, it's just great. It's just a great storyboarding by Marvel to like, hey, watch this movie. There could be clues to the grand scheme of things of this 10-year story arc. Like it's going to drive fans to watch those movies regardless.
Justin, you were talking about competing movies series with them. What about the Fast and Furious franchise? I feel like they make a fuckload of money.
They do, but they're still not close, because Fast Furious has had Fast 9's coming out, but then you also had the Rock movie with Jason Statham.
But are they superheroes?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Are they classified as superheroes?
No.
I feel that they are now.
No, okay, they are to us, but as far as like
no, speak for yourself, not to me.
I've said it before, and this might spoil later on in the show when we talk about religious stuff, but Dom Toretto is my Lord and Savior. He has been for at least a year since I fell in love with the franchise. If you're talking about like franchises comparing to the MCU, there's no other movie franchise, and maybe Fast and the Furious. It's probably Star Wars, because Star Wars has made a ton of money.
Okay, yeah, there you go. I forgot.
But after that, it's probably Fast and the Furious.
Wow.
And Transformers, those terrible movies made a lot of money. But no, so Fast and Furious is not considered a superhero film, even though they are superheroes.
I want to say Lord of the Rings has to like fall into that summer, because those movies made a shit ton of money.
But there are only 3 of them though. But Lord of the Rings, you only had 3. But then if you count The Hobbit, you have 6. The Hobbit movies didn't do as well, but they still did, very well as far as against everything else. To get back onto the topic of non-MCU Marvel, I just told you the top 10. That did not include any non-MCU Marvel movies. There are, however, 2 non-MCU Marvel movies in the top 20 highest grossing superhero movies of all time. Can y'all name them?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
No, actually, that one didn't make very much money. No.
What?
I know. Because it was anime. It actually it's one of the lower grossing movies.
What about the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire?
You're getting warmer.
I think the third one
3?
probably.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is the highest grossing non-MCU Marvel movie. It made $890 million.
Wow.
Really?
Okay, so what do you think is the second?
Probably one of the XMen movies, if not Deadpool.
Wolverine?
No.
Logan.
It's in the Spider-Man family.
No, never mind.
Venom? Wow.
Venom made $856 million. So a few weeks ago, I think I said that Venom made $1 billion. I was wrong about that. So it made $856 million. Still a lot of money. I would take $856 million. Yeah.
Not $1 billion, but hey.
No, it's close. It's close.
But to be a non-Spider-Man character in the Sony world and Spideyverse, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last thing about the money stuff. So I told you earlier about the MCU movies. There's been 23. Basically, the MCU per film makes at least $982 million per film. And obviously, all of the Avengers movies made over $1 billion. If you just take the Avengers by themselves, their 4 movies, the average per film is $1.9 billion.
Damn.
That is like nothing on the board is close to that. That's unheard of.
We're in the wrong business, y'all.
The only thing that might compete with this in the future, and I don't understand why, is if James Cameron ever makes all these Avatar movies that he's been talking about forever. Avatar regained its title as the highest grossing film of all time when
Why?
they re-released it. I don't know. I've never seen the movie.
They re-released it in China, and
yeah, to get people back in the theater.
Yeah, so the mantle was passed from Avengers back to
it
Avatar.
passed Endgame.
I saw that movie once. It was way too fucking long, and I didn't really fucking care.
Yeah, it's a movie that obviously a lot of people have seen, but I've never heard anyone tell me anything about it or say it was their favorite. You know what I mean? It's very weird that like it was just like I've seen the trailer a couple times because it's on Disney Plus. Like you can watch it.
You're not missing out on much. I remember watching it while I was recovering from my septoplasty. I was also high on drugs. Don't remember a whole lot of it. And by drugs, I mean prescription painkillers. Okay,
Well,
I'm not.
We know that. We're aware.
I didn't know that.
So now that I've gotten the money stuff out of the way, because let's be real, it's all about the cash. So now that y'all kind of have an idea of what we're talking about as far as non-MCU Marvel movies, let's get into our top 5 favorite movies. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first. I think. Should I start for number 5?
Start for number 5.
And then work my way up?
Yep.
Use some climax in this. Come on.
So number 5, I have Deadpool 2. I think it was a funny movie. Sequel was pretty funny. Number 4, I have Blade. Number 3, I have Venom. And I had to edit my list because I did not know that movie was in it. Number 2, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And number 1, I have Deadpool.
I have 3 of those.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's hear yours then.
So my top 5, number 5 is Spider-Man 2. Okay, before the Dark Knight franchise came out, I think Spider-Man 2 was widely thought of as the best superhero film ever. Of the 3, Tobey Maguire, I think it's by far the best. It's got Doc Ock in it. It's got a really awesome song from Dashboard Confessional. I think the best like superhero like rock song. It's actually a good song. It's not like cheesy. If you watch it today, it still holds up. Whereas the first Spider-Man, it's okay. Spider-Man 3, I never liked. Anyway, moving on. My number 4 is Deadpool. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, super funny movie. Number 3 is Logan. Logan is awesome. Logan's by far the best XMen Wolverine movie. I mean, without question. The story of the old man Logan, it's an awesome movie. My number 2 is Deadpool 2. I think it's a lot funnier than the original, and I thought the original was hilarious. There's so many moments, and I think the opening of Deadpool 2 is maybe my favorite opening of any movie. Just the music choice. He's gonna kill himself, and he's got the Wolverine or the Logan doll, and he's got the doll stabbed or whatever, and he's like, "You died, now I'm gonna die." Like, I don't know. It's so funny with that Air Supply song playing in the background. It's so perfect. And then my number 1, and I think this is pretty easy, it's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is the best Spider-Man movie. I mean, I think everyone should see this movie, whether you like Spider-Man, whether you like superheroes, because of how it looks, like the design. And it's like a comic book come to life. And I think that if every animated show or movie was made like this, I think you could just make animated movies. Like you wouldn't even have to worry about live action. I think this would make it's just such a great story, first of all, because you have all these Spider-Man, you obviously had Miles Morales. It's just super fun. It's funny. It's got something for everybody. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But as I mentioned earlier, it did not make a lot of money. I think because of the animated thing. It just didn't make what you think it should make. Let's go to Frank. What's your top 5?
I don't know how the fuck Blade was not rated R. Was Blade PG-13 back in the 90s? That shit was graphic.
I'll look it up while we're talking here.
All right, but as far as my top 5, so start with number 5. I gotta go with Blade.
Okay.
At the time, Wesley Snipes could not be touched. He had just done Passenger 57.
It was rated R.
Man, like he was like literally like one of the hottest stars in Hollywood. So it was a perfect casting. I thought the fight scenes for that time was just legit, and he was a legit martial artist too. So he just brought his skill set to the movies, and it was just, man, I loved it. I love how badass he was. Like I might have been like 13 when that movie came out, man. It was just like that was my shit. And I actually had a Blade haircut too. And
oh my god,
I got the exact Blade haircut that he had. 4 is Deadpool 2. Ryan Reynolds, man, is like that guy is like one of the funniest guys on the planet. He needs to do comedy. He needs to be a comedian. Like that guy he brings a comedic aspect to superhero movies that I just never seen before. Like Justin said, the opening scene to that was just dope as shit. The action is great. Odd couple between him and Josh Brolin's Cable was perfect for that movie. That's number 4 on my list. Number 3 is the first Deadpool. again, that movie broke down barriers for unadulterated superhero movies, how graphic and how just crazy it was with the action as well. 2, I have Logan. Logan by far, that's easily what's the character's name? What's the actor's name again that plays Logan?
Hugh Jackman.
To me, that was his best role. Like, I actually shed a tear when he died at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. Like, that was like
pretty sad.
Yeah, it's great, that ending for him. After these 13 movies that he did, playing Wolverine for 17 years, I thought that was perfect closure for that character. I thought that the young girl that played X-23 was great as well. You know, I really hope, there was rumors for years that they may do a spinoff, X-23 spinoff. I hope they do. But that was that. I thought that was a great movie. And last but not least, is Spider-Man Into the Multiverse. Again, I felt like it was paying homage to the whichever Spider-Man Peter Parker. I can't remember the comic book, but it paid homage to that comic book, and it brought in Miles Morales back like 10 years ago, and he's been a fan favorite. So it's fun to see him go from comic book strip to film. Even though it was animated, was a great adaptation of that character. I hope that they bring that to actual life. And yeah, that's my top 5.
And by the way, Blade was R-rated. Yeah, you're
okay.
Right. So
yeah, because like this slicing and hitting people and all that kind of, I'm like, man, that was a graphic movie.
Yes, it was. Okay, so Brittany, best for last. Let us know your top 5.
I'm a little ashamed to say number 5, but for the time that it was, and to see like a female, you know, be like this kind of badass superhero, is Elektra. Actually, I mean, I really did enjoy that movie, as horrible as it is. Oh my gosh, it's bad. Let me just say that.
Jennifer Garner, right?
Yes, Jennifer Garner, who was married to Ben Affleck, you know, which was so weird.
Did they meet making those movies?
You know, I don't remember, actually. I'll have to go look into that myself. It was a complete like critical and commercial failure. Like, let's just call it what it is. It's a bad movie, but it came out in 2005 or something like that. So I was like, I don't know, 16, give or take. And I don't know, I thought it was just kind of cool to see like a woman in this role, and she's kind of a badass. And that to me was just kind of neat. That's why when seeing Captain Marvel recently was just kind of a letdown. I'm like, well, you're supposed to be kind of cool, but you're not. That's just casting issues, not the character itself. Right. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Elektra as my number 5. My number 4 will be Blade. I'm not really into, like, you know, vampire movies in general, but I think Frank just said it well about Wesley Snipes, the fact that he himself is a martial artist, and he delivered in his performance as Blade. And I'm so excited to see Mahershala Ali be Blade in the future, because that's just going to be fucking phenomenal and epic to the highest degree. So yeah, and the very fact that too, with I can't remember which Blade movie it was, y'all, you have to tell me, Ryan Reynolds was in one of the Blade movies too.
Yeah, he was in the third one.
The third one. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool, the fact that, you know, Ryan Reynolds, you know, would eventually, you know, be part of this universe in his own leading role as Deadpool. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Wolverine is near and dear to my heart. So Logan will be number 3 for me. You guys have already talked about it. I love Hugh Jackman. I love the conclusion of this storyline, because we did have, you know, Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then the Wolverine. Right. So I think the fact that Hugh Jackman, if I'm not mistaken, he's probably like the only actor, if not one of the only actors, that has played a role consistently for like the last, I don't know, 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's tied with Professor Xavier, Patrick Stewart, or they might be close.
There might be close, but I think in terms of like a super or action figure kind of thing, I think he's like the guy, if not one of the guys. And when I went to see Hugh Jackman in his one-man show, if you will, by the way, he's a phenomenal singer, dancer, actor, you know, what have you. But he talked about he almost lost out on the Wolverine role after he had already earned it, because while they were filming the first X-Men movie, he just wasn't delivering. And one of the producers came up to him saying like, hey, listen, if you don't, you know, if you don't perform, like, we're gonna have to cut you. And you're talking about like this young man, you know, he's, let me think, either in his late 20s or early 30s or something like that. You know, the idea that your first big break in, you know, US cinematic, you know, filming industry, and you're going to lose it because you can't deliver. Come on. So I'm very glad that, you know, they did cast him as a Wolverine. Damn, he's hot. But yeah, for sure. And the rest are actually going to be just X-Men movies, because or X-Men franchise movies. Number 2 for me is going to be Deadpool. What can I say that you guys haven't already talked about? Ryan Reynolds is just hilarious. And again, the fact that he had been introduced into the Marvel universe already with Blade, and then also in is it the Wolverine, or is it Wolverine Origins as Wade Wilson, you know,
Origins,
Deadpool. Yes. So yeah, you it's just kind of funny how we keep seeing Ryan Reynolds pop up into this universe. So he's meant to be there, you know, and the fact that he's Deadpool, he just really, he pushes the envelope. Is that the expression? And just keeps delivering. And yeah, he's great. But my number one for me is going to be the first X-Men, just because of the fact that it was something, you know, having grown up in the 90s and watching the animated series X-Men, it to see it come into like a real life action movie was really cool. I think the casting was done very well, and I rewatched the first 2 recently, and to see, like, you know, Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart, just how much younger they were, and it's like, oh my God, this is insane. And also knowing that Ian McKellen was doing or about to start filming Lord of the Rings at the same time, so man was busy, right? I love the movie. I love that we've got Ray Parks in it as Toad, who also played Darth Maul in episode 1 of Star Wars. A lot of people don't realize that that's him, but I don't know. I just enjoy X-Men. It was like the reason I fell in love with Marvel, if you will. And that's why it's number 1 in my heart.
The fact that Ian McKellen is still alive is impressive to me. That movie came out 21 years ago. Shout out to Ian McKellen, man, and Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, so good list. I think everyone mentioned movies that I think we all like or enjoy. No one had like a crazy Fantastic Four kind of pick or something.
I came close. I said Elektra, so I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's true. You did. You had Elektra. Okay, yeah. Elektra's
I think if I said Ghost Rider, I think people would like come at me and be like, what the hell are you talking about? I unfortunately did see that in theaters with my then high school boyfriend. Man, that was a bad movie.
I've seen that one. I've not seen the second one. The second Ghost Rider.
I haven't seen the second one either. So
I didn't even know
I'm going to save it. I think it's like a fine wine. Maybe like in 30 years.
If I can, I think this does fall under Marvel, if I read this correctly, but honorable mention is an animated movie. It's not the one that y'all are talking about, the Spideyverse or whatever the fuck it's called. It's a Big Hero 6. It's an animated movie set in like San Fran, Tokyo. It's like this kind of futuristic thing, but Baymax is just an adorable character, and Hero is, you know, just a kid that I think a lot of people can kind of relate to, even though he's fucking brilliant, which I'm not, so I can't relate to that. But anyway, that's an honorable mention for me, just like Venom would be for, you know, like everyone else.
I thought that was the Disney property.
It is a Disney property, but that's why I said honorable mention, because I mean, there's really no direct connection to like the MCU. Like there's not a mention about like Avengers or anything like that, but it does fall under a Marvel property.
I didn't see it listed, but like I said, I'm removing everything that isn't like superhero, like definite Marvel superhero kind of in the comics or some kind of like, you know, superhero tie-in, which obviously Big Hero 6 is a superhero, but not in the Marvel universe, I guess you could say. Now that we talked about the movies, what about like other Marvel properties, whether it be cartoons, animated shows, or TV series?
Daredevil,
yeah. The Netflix series,
Yeah, that's just in the Netflix, I guess it was a Netflix universe before they came to Disney Marvel, but Charlie Cox's Daredevil, man, he kills it. Like he brings a different dynamic to the character that Ben Affleck didn't do. It's more serious. It's very dark. If I could equate New York violence like the realism of New York violence, it's Daredevil. Like they cover Hell's Kitchen like it's real life. It's really great. The writing of those, the storyline, the story arcs of those characters are just exquisite. Kingpin is my favorite Marvel villain now of all time. It's not even close. Like he's Baelish but more violent. It's very calculated, very sadistic, and it's just a well written show. And I hope, I pray, if the rumors are true, I hope that he's a lawyer in his new Spider-Man movie. I need to bring on that character into the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, it would make sense because in the comics, obviously Spider-Man and Daredevil are in New York and they have kind of a friendship. So that would make sense.
Is it a part of the MCU though? Because they kind of mention like what happens in New York. They don't really mention the Avengers, but they mention what happens.
They do, but technically they're not a part of the MCU. Like not like even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a part of the MCU.
Yeah,
but Nick Fury shows up in season 1, which is so weird to me.
Yeah, I know.
He shows up in like 3 episodes in season 1, and then like one of the episodes of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. flows into Captain America: Winter Soldier. It flows into the the trailer of when Nick Fury gets attacked by Hydra. It's crazy how that's not a Marvel MCU
That makes no sense.
It makes.
Well,
and Poston literally left it when he died. We thought he died. He literally shows up back to life in AOS. So it's just, I don't know how that's not Marvel MCU property. And they mentioned Thanos. They mentioned when Thanos lands in the finale of season 5. It's like, what the fuck? Why not include these guys? But yeah.
Yeah.
Another show that I like was Luke Cage.
Okay.
That first season was really good.
Brittany, any other non-MCU Marvel projects you want to talk about?
Not in the sense that I liked it, but the one that I watched that I wanted to like, but it just was a bust, was Iron Fist. And, I was hoping, just because of the fact that we had a couple of Game of Thrones characters that were kind of cool in their own right while on Game of Thrones, and because now you're seeing them from Game of Thrones into this Marvel universe, if you will, it just didn't work out. The storyline was just like dragged out, and I mean, I watched all of season 1 for Iron Fist, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, it wasn't the best, but then with season 2, I couldn't even get through the first episode of season 2. Like, that's just how bad it was. But I haven't checked out the ones that Frank and George were talking about with Daredevil or Punisher, or was it Luke Cage, or Jessica Jones is another one. I think that is another property that I haven't checked out. I don't really watch a lot of TV shows. I think I've talked about this before. Like I kind of stick with what I know, and I follow it to the very end. I'm more of a movie watcher than anything, so that's why I haven't checked out any of these like Marvel properties.
I've seen most of the first season of Daredevil. I really like it, and I think it was the first series on Netflix. So if you want to watch all of them in order, you start with Daredevil season 1. So I think I'm like 9 or 10 episodes into it. Eventually, I'm going to watch all these shows. So I'm sure that Daredevil, the first seasons so far is really good. I've heard it's great all 3 seasons. I've heard the Punisher is really good. Jessica Jones is pretty good. I've heard Luke Cage. The only one that I heard that wasn't that great was what you just said, Iron Fist. I'd also
don't get to Iron Fist. I'm doing you a favor.
Well, but if I'm going to watch all of them, I might as well watch it.
Do it.
Brady, let me step in real quick. If you like Elektra, I think you'll love the Daredevil version of Elektra in the series.
Yeah,
she's exquisite. She's great.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I just, like I said, I'm not much of like a TV show watcher. Like I haven't even checked out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I know that had been out for a while. So,
but Defenders was good too. It started out kind of slow, but the action was pretty dope.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Like I said, I'll give it a chance at some point, but I like movies. Like, just give it to me all in like kind of one story. And, if you do a sequel, great, but like, I want it all at once.
So yeah, the Netflix shows I'm going to get around to watching at some point. But the one thing I do want to shout out this week, and I mentioned it last week, you can probably tell from my background, it's M.O.D.O.K. It's on Hulu. It's a 10 episode season. All the episodes are about 25 minutes long. I recently finished the whole season, and it's really funny. It's silly funny. It's my kind of humor. Patton Oswalt plays M.O.D.O.K, which stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing. John Hamm is on it. He plays Iron Man. You've got Wonder Man, which a character I wasn't familiar with, but he's also an Avenger. Nathan Fillion does his voice, and he's pretty funny. It's kind of like a family comedy, but it is like TVMA. It's made by the Robot Chicken guys, so it's got that look, the stop motion animation. I mean, it's like a joke a minute. It's like there's tons of jokes. Like it's almost like rapid fire, like almost too many jokes because then you have to process everything. But I really enjoyed it. Hopefully, there's going to be a season 2. It did a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to spoil it. Like there's a couple things I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it in case y'all do watch it because there's some really cool stuff like in the last couple episodes. So anyway, M.O.D.O.K. It's worth checking out. The future is M.O.D.O.K. He said he uses M.O.D.O.K. like in the third person a lot. I mean, I made a damn background for it, so obviously I like it. You know what I mean? So there was some casting news this week that kind of ties in with our topic. They're going to make a Kraven the Hunter movie, and it's a Spider-Man villain. Kraven the Hunter is going to be played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. He was Quicksilver in the MCU, but he wasn't Quicksilver in WandaVision. Yeah. Maybe this is his revenge ploy against the MCU. He's like, okay, well, I'll go to Sony, and I'll be Kraven the Hunter.
He better get beefed up for that role, man. Kraven's a fucking savage, like a literal savage. Like he's a barbarian looking guy, so he's gonna put on weight for that role.
Or a bodysuit.
Yeah, one or the other.
I think maybe me and you are the only ones who know about the character. What else can you tell us about Kraven the Hunter?
So from the comic books, Kraven, he was a scientist, and like he drank like a serum to like mimic like all the predators in like the jungle. He uses that serum to defeat Spider-Man and like fight Spider-Man, things of that nature. He's one of the Spider-Man, one of the more popular villains. But yeah, like he's a formidable opponent. I want to see how he plays out in the Sony Spideyverse universe. I know a couple years ago, because after the success of Venom, I saw a lot of news a couple years ago, like of Kraven, and then they're talking about doing a Spider-Woman movie as well. Yeah. I don't know that went through, and then like a Black Cat, and I don't know if all those still in plans, but I assume if the Venom and Carnage movie is success, which I'm sure it will be, it's only going to increase this Spider universe more.
Yeah, and Morbius is coming out too. Morbius is also it
was coming out last year, right?
Yeah, but now it's moved to 2022.
Yeah, so and that's another great Spider-Man villain too. So it's interesting to keep on creating all these different Spider-Man characters, and Spider-Man is not the center of this universe. So I find that really interesting.
But I think he will be at some point. I mean, he's got to be. You know, if you're gonna do the Sinister Six, you've got to have Spider-Man to fight them. There's some delays in the MCU movie schedule.
In correlation with one of the movies that's been delayed, there was also another article about one of the characters is going to change in that movie. So Justin, you can go ahead and share about it.
The basic gist is, okay, so there's going to be 4 Marvel movies this year, or 4 MCU movies. There's going to be 4 in 2022, but in 2023 there's going to be 5. So 3 of the spots are spoken for. It's like Guardians 3. It's all these movies we've heard about. And the 2 open spots, the 2 spots they added, people are speculating it could be Blade, it could be Fantastic Four, or it could be another like Young Avengers or something. And people are saying they think it might be an Avengers type film. So there really wasn't a whole lot of like news to it, but it was just kind of interesting that they've blocked out 5 movie dates for movies, and they've only confirmed 3 of the spots, meaning there's 2 that are out there that could be anything.
Well, and then what I did want to say was that Sharon Carter, you know, as we saw her in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that her character supposedly is going to change in the upcoming Captain America movie that will have Sam Wilson as Captain America. And that's due to fans, a lot of fan feedback. So that's going to be interesting to see how she, you know, her character development goes when we do finally get the next Captain America movie.
And that could be a 2023 movie also. That's one of the options too. So, and that might make the most sense, because you don't want to go too far. Like, you introduce Sam Wilson as Captain America in 2021 in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. Maybe you don't want to wait 4 or 5 years to have his first movie. Maybe you want to try to get it. I mean, 2023 is probably the earliest they can probably do it anyway, just because everything else they're doing. And I'm sure, you know, Anthony Mackie's pretty busy. He's He's on a ton of stuff. One of those spots might be Captain America 4. So transitioning from Marvel over to our favorite DC, or maybe just my favorite. Not really my favorite. Frank, are you caught up on Superman and Lois?
I am not. I've been watching Gangs of London lately, so I'm not caught up just yet.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. It's my favorite show of 2021, like of superhero shows. It's really good. This last episode, there's a big character reveal. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything. It's a character who we thought was someone else. It was another character that I did not expect was going to be in this Superman story. This show is well done. These people, like, I know it's a CW. It's not Martha. That's your joke every week. As I explained last week, Martha Kent dies in the first episode of Superman and Lois. So R.I.P.
Somebody that we thought that what? Okay, sorry, I'm done.
Okay, Batman versus Superman ruined that name forever.
No disrespect to anyone who is named Martha out there. Okay. Just saying.
Or no disrespect to Martha Wayne or Martha Kent, who are fictional people, like perfectly fine characters. They had their first name was the same because back then there was like 7 names. Okay, whenever they named this character. No, but okay. Superman and Lois is so good. It's like surprising how good it is and how much I enjoy it every week. And yeah, I think it's better than WandaVision. I think it's better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, I just watched M.O.D.O.K. I like M.O.D.O.K, but it's better than M.O.D.O.K. Like I think of course, I'm a Superman fan, so biased. But the bar for Superman, it's obviously not a bar that a lot of people can get over with Superman. It's a hard character to bring to live action. My recommendation, as it is every week, is to watch Superman and Lois on the CW.
I'm going to finish it I'm going to catch up this week. So by next Tuesday, I have my full. I think I'm like 4 episodes behind. So I have my full review on that so far.
I think you'll like it. It's pretty cool stuff.
Oh, I like it already. I think it's really good. I mean, it's a damn good show. It kept me in tune. Like I thought that, like I said, that I mean we said it before, but like it's a different take on Superman as a father, as a balancing being a superhero to the world, and while being a father and husband into his family. It's a good viewpoint of this character that it definitely caught my interest. I think this guy is the best Superman I've ever seen.
He's really good. Like he plays Superman and Clark both equally well. Yeah, it's just cool. Like I've wanted a good Superman show for so long. Ever since Smallville kind of ended, like there's been nothing, and the movie stuff wasn't very good. So
like if Henry Cavill doesn't reprise his role and he takes over, I'll be happy with that. I mean, you have to change up the storyline a little bit, or you do a multiverse, but he's a good actor. And he's like 33 years old, so he can play the role for another 10 years.
Yeah. And he's playing an older Superman anyway. Like he's playing like a Superman who's like in his late 30s or 40s. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, this week's episode, like the reveal was like a character that I never thought would be on TV. And it's a Superman character that came to prominence in the 90s. And not a huge character, but this character got a solo film in the 90s, a very weird solo film. So anyway, that's my last tease. We got something this week that we've never received ever. We got a request on YouTube. The person's name is Man of Goodwill. Ask us to react to the Lady of Heaven trailer. Let me give you a little a background on the Lady of Heaven, which I was not familiar with at all. I'm just going to read straight from the Lady of Heaven website. The story, it's a heart-wrenching journey of Lady Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. Separated by 1,400 years, an Iraqi child in the midst of a war-torn country learns the importance of power and patience. After losing his mother, the child finds himself in a new home where a loving grandmother narrates the historical story of the Lady of Heaven and how her suffering has the first victim of terrorism spun out of control in the 21st century. We watched the trailer. The trailer has a lot of views. There's a lot of people that are commenting on this film. George, what did you think about the Lady of Heaven?
I was surprised it had so many, like millions of views, which is crazy. Like I never heard of it, never even saw anything about it, but the trailer was good. I didn't have anything like bad to say. I'm kind of confused. I'm not really sure what it's about, and I guess you'd have to watch the movie to find out. But the trailer looked good, so I wasn't mad at it.
Brittany, what did you think about it?
Cinematically, I thought it was shot very well, and blending the two stories of what's happening current day, and then taking it back 1,400 years ago, of course, to try to convey the message. I'm not completely familiar with the story at all. I mean, I do know of the Prophet Muhammad. I don't know anything beyond, who he is. The reason why we haven't really heard of it or let alone checked it out is just it's one of those like probably more indie kind of international like type audience, and so it's not going to probably be that mainstream. So but in its own respect, I think it's a positive message that they're trying to convey, especially during these difficult times for everyone, not just because of the pandemic, but different people of different groups obviously face adversity, and it's a message that I think all of us could learn something from it and take away from it. So yeah, like I said, cinematically it looks great. I do want to say that I swear I heard Emilia Clarke voice something. Whoever
it does sound like her voice. Yeah, you're right.
Does it not sound like Emilia Clarke? Like I'm like, oh my god, did they get Daenerys Targaryen in this movie? Which would be really bad choice. But I swear, like the narration, it sounded just like her. But yeah, no, like I said, I think ultimately it's a positive message to share with everyone during difficult times. And I think, Justin, if I'm not mistaken, this movie doesn't have a release date as of recording.
Yeah, that's the interesting part about the movie, because when I'd never heard of it until I saw the YouTube comment. It was supposed to be released January 1st of this year, but it was delayed because of the pandemic. As of right now, I don't see a release date. I've been on the website a little bit looking, and I don't see the release date. So it's
right.
It's which is kind of strange because now we're almost halfway through. Well, now we're halfway through 2021, and obviously there is somewhat of a demand for this movie. So, because I mean, there are a lot of reaction videos online. Maybe it's going to drop on HBO Max. I don't know.
Frank, what was your reaction to the trailer?
I don't have much background on Prophet Muhammad as well, but like watching the trailer. So, from my understanding, this Fatima woman was killed in the trailer, but she's a distant relative of the Prophet Muhammad, correct?
So I think according to the trailer, she was a daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, and when he died, she was going to take on the lead of stepping into her father's footsteps. And because of the era that this takes place and the fact that she's a woman, even in many countries today that women are not held to the same regard as men. And I think in certain religions that's still true today. So just the idea of having a woman lead, a group of people based on like religious beliefs or not, that was just something completely unheard of, and people took it upon themselves, I guess, to assassinate her. So that's kind of what I got from the trailer. I could be 100% wrong, and please, let us know in the comments what your feedback is on this trailer. If we understand the plot line, the story of this movie, we'd like to hear your thoughts. But yeah, Frank, I think that's pretty much the premise of this movie.
Yeah, so I mean, cinematic wise, I thought it was shot brilliantly. There was a line in there, there was a voiceover talking about how the violent nature of men. For it to convey that, I think for that line to be said, I think it's fitting to see something from a woman's point of view. Guys have been leading this world for what, eons, and it's been the same shit when it comes to war, destruction, rape, despair, all of that. So they have this symbol of hope in the movie, of this entity, in this realm. I think will give a lot of people hope, especially young aspiring women who inspire to do great things in this life. So, it's not my type of movie because I'm very ignorant to religious faith when it comes to the Prophet Muhammad and in that realm. But I think it could inspire a lot of people to want to do great things for sure. So.
And on that note, you talking about just the inspirational message, especially for women, with this, it kind of reminds me of back when the Da Vinci Code was about to come out, and the plot twist that movie had of Christ Church, was to be led by a woman, and you see that caused a lot of controversy, amongst audiences, and especially those who are extremely religious or not. To me, as I grew up as in a religious household, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool, like to the idea that women have a bigger place or a bigger purpose than just being a wife and a mother and, that kind of thing. Like the idea that they can step into this role and lead and continue, God's work, if that's the direction you want to take it to. I think that's just incredibly empowering. And, especially for today's, day and age, there's so many groups just want to take down other people. And I think we just need to, find it within ourselves to just power on, empower each other. At the end of the day, just be a good person. Like that's really all that I kind of relate all this to. Just be a good person.
Absolutely. I think this saying has been used in weird and very insensitive ways, but in this standpoint, in the context of this conversation, all lives do matter. Whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Mormon, Catholic, I think it's very important to respect each other's beliefs.
And for those who don't have any, like that's fine. Like I said, at the end of the day, just be a good person. Do good things. It doesn't matter if there's if you believe in a higher power or not. Like just be a good person.
Couldn't say any better myself.
I will say, if you've listened or watched our show, you kind of know my view. Religious content's not my thing. So, but I will say that the production value, as we've all said, it does look very impressive. And I thought this was very interesting. I was looking at the website for the film, and there's a review on there, and the person says it's Lawrence of Arabia meets Game of Thrones. So
Ooh,
that sounds interesting.
that does.
Nothing else. Anyway, thank you to Man of Goodwill for the request. If you have other requests or any other listener or viewer has a request, something you'd like for us to talk about, please let us know in the comments below. We'll be happy to accommodate that.
Because clearly we do take requests.
We do. And we play the hits. The top 40 stuff. That's us. But no, guys, that's pretty much all I had. Is there anything else y'all want to discuss?
I am sad to say, Frank, I did not get a chance to watch Gangs of London. I know I said I was going to before today's recording, but I just didn't get that opportunity. I do have it pegged. I do have it on my watch list. I'm going to check it out as soon as humanly possible, because the way that you talk about this show just it makes me want to watch it. And I know you said it had, what was the percentage on Rotten Tomatoes?
I just viewed it this morning because I just watching, I'm like, this has to be a great show. And I viewed it this morning. It says 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's going to be AMC's. It already got renewed for season 2. Halfway through season 1. It's going to be. It's going to carry AMC into the future as far as their shows on Sunday nights. But like I said, man, I watched episode 5 last night, and there was some red wedding type shit that happened in the episode that had me like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
of course, because Michelle Fairley is in it, and she was, Catelyn Stark at the red wedding. I'm pretty sure it's her. Wherever she goes, the red wedding follows.
I will say this: there was an action scene with an axe that I've never seen. Like, it was by far, as far as axe scenes go, that was the best axe scene I've ever seen in my life. The way the guy was using that axe, bruh, shit was cold.
Okay, I have a question. Did you see John Wick 3?
I have.
Okay. It surpasses that axe scene?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta check out this show, because that axe scene in John Wick 3 was sick.
You know what though? What if in the next axe scene the guy's awesome, but he also has axe body spray on?
Are you going to ask him that question?
I might. I don't know.
It's really good. I mean, if y'all want to do a viewing party at the crib, man, I gotta check. I know I don't have AMC. I'm down to do a viewing party on a Saturday, man. Just to knock it out, man. It's great. It's a great fucking show.
I'll bring the wine.
Let's do it. Yeah, there's not too many shows I will stand on top of the table for. This is the show I'm doing that for. I am campaigning. Got to watch this beautiful project.
I'm pretty sure if you drink enough wine, you'll stand on top of tables. Just saying.
If I drink no wine, I do a lot of things I don't normally do. So yeah.
Okay, noted. Yeah, so that's one show for sure I want to watch. I do eventually want to watch M.O.D.O.K. Because I know Justin has said a lot of good things about it. I, for one, am not all into Superman, like some of these other guys are, but yeah, I'm not gonna travel down that road. But Justin, I will say,
Fine.
your review on this new Superman show, I shared it with my brother, and he had messaged me like, I don't know, the day or two after, and he's like, wow, he's like, this show is amazing. He's like, great call on it. So to those who are Superman fans out there, like, you need to go check out, what is it called? Lois,
Superman
Clark
and Lois.
Superman and Lois. Okay, thank you.
And
I was about to
it
say Clark
airs
and
on,
Lois.
yeah. If you still watch TV, like as it airs on Tuesday nights on CW, 8 p.m. Central Time. But when the
Oh.
season ends, it'll be on HBO Max.
Okay, all right.
The whole season will be on there. So it's one of those weird contractual things, like, you know, even though all these companies are basically owned by the same company, they have all these, different agreements with content.
So I will just put my little Handmaid's Tale plug in. The latest episode will air tonight at time of recording at 11 p.m. And I will be doing my solo podcast audio only. So you can find it on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever else you listen to your audio podcasts. So be on the lookout for my latest recap of The Handmaid's Tale, because after last week's episode, it has to get so good, and like so much shit's going to go down. I'm glad this season finally picked up, because for me, it started off a little slow, but now we're getting to a point it's like, oh, they done fucked up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this new episode of The Handmaid's Tale.
George, what about you? What have you been watching, or what are you looking forward to, or what's going on?
I haven't been watching anything. I started watching Invincible again.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Anna didn't really pay attention to it, so we just started watching that again.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a really good show. You know what?
It is.
You know what? Okay, so I kind of forgot about Invincible. I guess I'll say that it's like my co-favorite show with Superman and Lois, because Invincible was really good. I don't know. It kind of like came out of nowhere for me, and then like not that I forgot about it, but I just haven't thought about it lately. So yeah, that's a really good call.
I kind of want to do a rewatch of The Boys. I miss The Boys. I miss you boys, but I miss The Boys.
Yeah, I mean, The Boys, I don't know that we're gonna get. I think it'll be maybe
Next year.
holidays or so. Maybe if it's this year at all, I'm not sure, but I think they have wrapped all the filming for season 3. There's a lot of stuff. Hopefully that comes back soon. I hope Succession comes back, because that right there, that's the best show on TV in my opinion.
Yep.
I did see on their Twitter, from the Boys official Twitter, that they said Happy Memorial Day to everyone except Homelander. So that was, I don't know,
Yeah.
that kind of made me want to like, oh man, I want to rewatch this show, because just Homelander is just so fucking ridiculous, and everything else that has gone on this past season was just ridiculous.
And there's that Boys spinoff where it's like a college age boys academy, like a training academy, like the XMen or something. That's apparently coming at some point. Probably early next year. So
Nice.
a lot of good stuff.
Lucifer season 6 comes out this summer too.
Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix. That's a DC property as well.
Yep.
I mean, I know that. So I'm a big fan of Lucifer. I'm not demonic. I just like the show. So again,
I think there's new episodes already, Frank. I saw a banner on Netflix. It said new episodes. I never watched the show.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
I don't know. I saw something about it. It might have been a trailer or something. I don't know. It was on Netflix though, on the home screen.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I've been waiting since last year, but
I think it was on the CW. Where was it? But it's no longer on.
I think it's a Fox show.
It was on Fox.
Yeah.
It was on Fox. Okay,
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, because like it had a following, but Fox it. Like they canceled the show, and fans, including myself, we rioted and we petitioned, and I signed a petition online, and like and Netflix peep game, and they picked up season, I think, 5 and 6.
So I am going to confirm George's sightings of new episodes on Lucifer on Netflix for season 5. So new episodes beginning with episode 9 all the way to episode 16.
So I'm sorry, Justin, I won't be watching Superman, and I'm going to catch up on Lucifer and Gangs of London, and I will resume next week on Superman.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because Superman, I think it's on episode. I think tonight will be episode 7 or 8. I'm having a hard time keeping track because of that huge They did like 5
Mhm.
episodes and they had that huge delay because of COVID. I mean, it's only like a 45-minute kind of show, so you can fly through it. It's not,
So Frank, you're not religious nor demonic, but you're into Lucifer.
Yes.
Okay,
No, but
noted.
I think we should note that like before Frank had that background, he had scrawled 666 behind him, and we told him to like, and I have no problem with that, honestly, but just we might have sponsors one day. So, if
Oh
they look
my
back at our
God.
content, they may not appreciate the number of the beast like some of us do. So Frank will have a report for next week's episode. In addition to Loki, Frank will have a Lucifer season 5 or season 6?
Season 5.
Season 5 report. Okay.
My apologies. I said the wrong season. Because
Very cool.
the first time season 5 came out last year, and then they it was a mid-season finale.
Okay.
And I thought it was season 6, but it's still season 5.
They might have been cut short because of COVID, I bet.
Yeah, probably so.
Maybe so. Next week we're going to talk about Loki a lot because it debuts June 9th.
I want to just give y'all a quick little preview of what our Watchers logo is going to look like for Loki. So
Ooh.
you guys ready for
Let's-
that? This is exclusive to
let's see
those
it.
checking out our YouTube channel. If you do want to check it out, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can see what I'm about to show my fellow watchers. So this is what I've got going on
Ooh.
for
Very cool.
Nice.
Loki. So
Turn it.
yeah,
Like it.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
I'm
Like
excited.
T-shirt. Put it on a shirt.
We need merch. So yeah, there's your
Very
little
cool.
sneak
Sweet.
peek. What? Sneak
Yeah.
peek of the Watchers logo. Getting ready for Loki. I'm so excited.
Very cool. So Brittany, people can find that obviously on our YouTube channel, but they're also going to be able to find us on social media. You'll have the logo out there.
Oh,
And
for
can
sure.
how can people find us on social media?
Search the Watchers in the Basement on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and keep an eye out for that new artwork change across all those platforms. And be sure to once again subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a like and a comment on all of our videos. We'd really appreciate it. As we did mention earlier, we do take requests if you want us to review something, be it a trailer, a movie, TV show. Can't promise anything and everything just because we're limited as to what we can and can't access. We don't all have the same streaming platform.
We will do our best. I will say that.
There you go. We'll do our best. Also, if you're not into video podcasts, that is totally cool. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more, thanks to anchor.fm, where they make it super easy for you to start a podcast. Get the word out there about the Watchers in the Basement, because we are a small podcast, but we are a proud one. So also don't forget to use hashtag Watchers Basement when sharing this pod, this channel, etc. on those platforms. Once again, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to like us and leave a comment and subscribe.
Thank you, Brittany. So for Brittany, for Frank, for George, this is Justin saying we will see you next week when we're talking about the God of Mischief, Loki. Bye-bye.
Yes.
See ya.